Imagine walking into a store and placing a glass bottle of Coca-Cola on the counter instead of cash, and the shopkeeper accepts it. No coins, no bills. Just that familiar red-labeled bottle. Sounds impossible, right? But once upon a time, Coca-Cola became more than just a refreshing drink. It became money. In one of the strangest twists in economic history, a soft drink born from an Atlanta pharmacy briefly transformed into a trusted form of currency. This isn't just a quirky anecdote. It's the story of how a soda brand accidentally stumbled into the world of finance, reshaped global trade in unexpected ways, and almost created its own private economy. Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you may never look at a bottle of Coca-Cola the same way again. And if you love uncovering hidden business histories and the strange, unexpected side of economics, hit that subscribe button, because this story is only the beginning. Let's dive in. For over 70 years, yes, you heard that right. 70 years, a bottle of Coca-Cola cost exactly 5 cents. From 1886 until the late 1950s, the price never changed. Think about that for a second. Wars came and went. Economies collapsed and recovered. But the price of Coca-Cola remained a single nickel. Now you might think this was some stroke of marketing genius, a brilliant strategy for consistent pricing. The truth is, it was an accident that became a trap. When Coca-Cola first began bottling its drink at the end of the 19th century, their executives signed contracts with bottlers at fixed wholesale prices. The idea was simple: stability. But that stability quickly became a chain. Even as the cost of sugar, glass, and labor soared, those early contracts prevented price increases. Then came the vending machines, those metal marvels that only accepted one coin, a nickel. To raise the price meant redesigning every single machine across America, a logistical nightmare of epic proportions. Coca-Cola's advertisements hammered the message home. Drink Coca-Cola, 5 cents. It became more than just a slogan. It was a promise. Breaking that promise, they feared, would break the brand itself. At one point, the company even asked the United States Treasury to mint a 7.5-cent coin so the price could finally rise without shattering its iconic image. The government, unsurprisingly, refused. This left Coca-Cola with a truly bizarre problem. Their brand was too beloved, too consistent, too affordable. They were, in essence, trapped by their own success. But in that trap lay the seed of something far more extraordinary, a moment when the bottle itself began to carry value beyond the refreshing drink inside. As Coca-Cola expanded into remote towns and developing regions across the globe, another unexpected challenge appeared. Many of these areas suffered from unstable or incredibly weak local currencies. Inflation could strike overnight, wiping out savings. Coins were scarce, and paper money was often seen as unreliable, losing value almost as fast as it was printed. But Coca-Cola bottles? They were sealed, branded, recognizable anywhere, and crucially, they held their value. They were consistent, easily transportable, and perhaps most importantly, universally trusted. In some of these towns, the bottle of Coke began to circulate like a small, precious coin. A farmer might trade a full bottle for a loaf of bread. A shopkeeper might accept it as payment for a bar of soap. Even children used it to barter for small goods, little trinkets, or sweets. Nobody officially called it money, yet in practice it functioned exactly like it. It was a medium of exchange, a store of value, and a unit of account, all the essential qualities of real currency. Word of this strange phenomenon eventually reached the company offices. Some executives were fascinated, seeing a unique kind of brand loyalty play out. Others were understandably alarmed. Was their product actually becoming a currency on its own? Inside boardrooms, an intriguing idea began to form. What if Coca-Cola could formalize this? What if each bottle acted as a voucher or a kind of credit, redeemable for other products, discounts, or even a small amount of cash? It was a tempting thought. It could significantly boost loyalty and give them unprecedented control over pricing. But there was a darker, much more serious side. If Coca-Cola started issuing something that truly functioned like money, it might cross into territory traditionally reserved for governments. And that was a line no corporation, no matter how powerful, wanted to cross. To truly understand how serious this became, picture the Pacific Islands in the mid-20th century. During wartime, and in the difficult years afterward, local economies were incredibly fragile. Governments printed weak money that lost value practically by the day. But Coca-Cola, imported, sealed, and universally trusted, remained a constant. In those islands, a full bottle of Coke could genuinely buy small goods: bread, soap, fresh fruit, or even labor. There are even reports of customs officers accepting crates of Coca-Cola to clear shipments when official cash was virtually worthless. The bottle became a benchmark of value, a tangible symbol of stability in an unstable world. People began to store Coca-Cola instead of money. Shops kept crates not just for sale, but as a form of savings, a secure investment. Families used bottles as dowry payments or as tokens of trade between villages. Without ever meaning to, Coca-Cola had created a private monetary system. Local governments became uneasy. Economists noted this strange development with academic fascination. But for the people on the ground, it was simple. They trusted the bottle more than they trusted their own national currency. Imagine that, the world's most famous soft drink replacing the currency of an entire region, not by force but purely by faith. By now, Coca-Cola executives were deeply torn. They couldn't openly encourage these bottle-as-money practices without inviting government scrutiny. Yet, they couldn't deny that it was happening. To try and regain some control, some divisions experimented with security seals and coded labels, special caps that could be redeemed for prizes or goods. On paper, these were simply marketing promotions. In reality, they began to function exactly like a private credit system. People traded these stamped caps and labels just like others traded coins. Some hoarded them, treating them as valuable assets. Others, more cunning, tried to forge them. And then a few unscrupulous dealers even started printing fake Coca-Cola labels to pass off as currency. That was the breaking point. Governments stepped in, warning the company that their promotions were bordering on issuing private money. Then came a disaster. In one region, more promotional credits were printed than actual bottles existed. The mismatch caused chaos and confusion. People lined up to redeem credits that stores simply could not honor. Trust, once Coca-Cola's greatest asset, collapsed overnight. Coca-Cola realized it was dangerously close to losing control of its own creation. The company swiftly ended all experiments resembling currency. No bottle would ever again act as money. No label would bear a redeemable value beyond pure marketing. The era of Coca-Cola as currency was officially over. But its legend was just beginning. Even after the clampdown, the stories didn't fade. Employees whispered about the time Coca-Cola nearly minted its own economy. In remote regions, some people continued to use bottles for barter, long after corporate headquarters forbade it. Historians began to take notice. Economists cited Coca-Cola as a fascinating example of price rigidity and as a compelling case study in how trust creates value. The bottle, they said, represented the perfect unit, globally recognized, physically tangible, and universally desired. In those far-off corners of the world, the line between brand and bank had completely blurred. Coca-Cola had not meant to invent a new form of money. It simply produced something so dependable, so consistently available, and so universally trusted that people actually chose it over their own national currency. That alone is a remarkable commentary on human behavior. When confidence in established systems collapses, trust often shifts to familiar, reliable symbols. And few symbols have ever been as powerful or as globally recognized as the Coca-Cola bottle. So what does this incredible story teach us? First, it proves that money isn't only about metal coins or paper bills. It is fundamentally about belief. The belief that an object will hold value when exchanged. For millions of people, that belief was placed wholeheartedly in a bottle of soda. Second, it reveals just how powerful a brand can become when it builds unshakable trust. Coca-Cola's consistency in taste, its unwavering reliability, and its ubiquitous presence made it as stable and dependable as any coin. Third, it serves as a powerful warning. The moment a company's product becomes more valuable as a currency than as a commodity, it risks losing control over its very identity and purpose. And finally, it reminds us that innovation often happens by accident. Coca-Cola never planned to be a monetary system, yet it briefly became one, and in doing so, it almost foreshadowed our modern era of brand loyalty points, digital currencies, and token economies. Every time you scan a loyalty QR code, earn digital credits, or use reward points to buy something, you are, in a strange way, living in the shadow of what Coca-Cola accidentally created. So, the next time you open a bottle of Coca-Cola and hear that familiar hiss of carbonation, remember, once, that sound represented more than just refreshment. It represented trust, trade, and fundamental value, the very essence of money itself. Coca-Cola didn't just sell happiness. For a fleeting, incredible moment, it sold belief. If this story fascinated you, if you love discovering these hidden chapters of business history and the surprising ways brands intersect with our world, please subscribe now. There are countless more tales like this, moments when brands, ideas, and human ingenuity collided to create something truly unbelievable. This was the time Coca-Cola accidentally became a currency. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.